it is our absolute pleasure and an honor to invite the legendary, the match winner of Indian cricket team, none other than Dinesh Karthik with us. Hello Dinesh, lovely to meet you sir. Honor, privilege. So Dinesh, huge fan, not just me, I'm sure all of us are. And it is an absolute pleasure and honor to have you here with us. I personally have been, a huge fan since the Nidas Trophy final 2 overs. You made me jump out of my sofa at home, and you made not just me. I'm sure it's for everybody. You made something happen that none of us believed could happen. And that gave us the inspiration, the strength that never to give up and how to show up during these critical moments. So from the entire team of InsuranceMarket.ae, warm welcome to you. Thank you for being with us. Now, when we talk about Team India, Dinesh Karthik, I cannot help myself but, draw parallel in terms of the champion team that we are, both as in cricket, Team India, and here in the insurance industry, InsuranceMarket.ae. So just like Team India, has a fantastic leader, Rohit Sharma, who doesn't let anybody walk in the garden. We also have a very own the captain of this ship, of this company, who doesn't allow anybody to walk in the garden in office. That is none other than Mr. Avinash Babur. Always keeps us on our toes, ensures that we are always there, well prepared to take up these difficult times. In fact, during the recent floods in Dubai, we were the only insurance company who was, taking these claims forward at a pace that never done before. So, with for more than 24,000 Google reviews at 4.8 Google rating, this kind of shows that our commitment to excellence, just like Team India, being the champion in cricket. So huge round of applause for both Team India and InsuranceMarket.ae. So it is my absolute pleasure now to welcome, to invite our captain of InsuranceMarket.ae, Mr. Avinash Babur, to hand over the welcome moment to Mr. Dinesh Karthik. Please. Thank you. And as I said, guys, I promised that we have exciting, event lined up for you today. The evening lined up for you today. So, of course, I'm sure all of you are waiting that, I want to ask Dinesh this, I want to ask Dinesh that. There are like, about 50, 55 of us, and there's one Dinesh. So what we have decided to do is we have our mentor. We have our own Dinesh Karthik in the team. Do you guys know? We have our own Dinesh Karthik in InsuranceMarket.ae, and that is Mr. Hitesh Botwani. So Hitesh is going to help us out. He's going to ask all our questions and have a fantastic session with Dinesh on behalf of us. So over to Hitesh.
Right, is my mic working? Can you guys hear me? Yes. Yep. Hi Dinesh, an honor to have you here at our office. Personally, it's a bit overwhelming for me because I've been following your journey for the last 20 years, and it is indeed a pleasure to have you here at our office.
Thank you, Hitesh. Can you guys hear me as well? Yes. Perfect. First of all, good afternoon to everybody. It's very, very cozy, very nice space, very personalized. It feels good to be here. When you generally go and meet people, it's in a very different atmosphere that I end up meeting people. But today, in a place like this, which is a place which I can see has grown in the near future, in the near past, and has done really well. But more importantly, I think it's a place which has a lot of potential as well to grow. And I've been lucky playing the sport. As you all know, sabko pata hai ki agar India mein se aaya to playing for the country in this sport is probably one of the is a very important journey for a person who started the sport many, many years ago. So here I am just trying to share my experiences. What I see here is a lot of people who are older than me as well. So, if I do make some mistakes, pardon me, but I'll try my best to explain what I have done over a period of time. And I'm really happy to be here. Thank you.
So, Dinesh, we'll start with a few questions I have. Then we'll have a small rapid fire session as well. And then if we have some time, we're going to open the floor to our colleagues for some questions as well. So, we ready? Yeah. So first question, Dinesh, you had your debut in 2004 against England at Lord's, which I think for most young cricketers out there, it's a dream come true starting out at Lord's. But if we have to take a step back and if I have to ask you, what inspired you to play cricket and how did that journey really start?
So 1992, India played the World Cup in Australia. I was about 7, 8 years old then. And my dad was very interested in cricket. So he said, come, we'll sit and watch a match. And it was India versus Australia. And there was a young man who was growing, he had curly hair, looked very cute on screen. I didn't know much about the sport. You ought to understand, I'm watching it for the first time. And the way he moved, the way he ran, and the way he was active and energetic and bubbly, I really liked. So I started watching the sport only because of him. And after some time, I really liked really liked watching the sport. Then my dad took me for matches within Chennai. There's a lot of club cricket in Chennai. I'm sure all of you all are in different parts of India. Most of you all are from somewhere else as well. But cricket is a big sport where a lot of club level cricket happens. So when I went and watched matches, I really started loving the sport. And then my dad started throwing balls in the evening to me, and I used to hit a lot of balls, and I used to constantly do that. Today, my son is doing that to me every day. He's telling me to throw ball. Throwing itself, I'm getting tired these days. But it's a cycle of life. But at that stage, I didn't know that I would go on to play for India or anything, but I just liked playing the sport. So it was brilliant, just starting out my journey with cricket like that.
Right, that's interesting, Dinesh. So, talking about, of course, we just spoke about your debut, but then come 2006, you were playing against South Africa. I remember that game very well because it was India's first T20 international. And you were, in fact, also the player of the match in that particular game. I think very early on in your career, you had to learn to adapt to a new format altogether, which was still growing at that point in time. So what did that teach you about adaptability?
Oh, in life, only one thing is constant: change. So change always happens in life, and for the good. At that point when you're going through it, sometimes you might not accept it or like it. But the fact is that everything goes through a change, because I came to Dubai for the first time. You got to remember, I studied for 3 years in between in Kuwait, and my dad used to come to Dubai a lot. So in the early 2000s, I have come to Dubai, and it was nothing like this. I'm sure a lot of people who have stayed here for a long time will know Dubai has gone through a sea of change as well. Obviously, it was just a desert many, many years ago, and slowly infrastructure kept building in. But at some point, they hit a crisis. They couldn't move forward, but they found a way soon after, as resilient as we are, to find a way to keep growing the economy, and there's infrastructure that came in. So the one thing that's for sure in life is change. And in my life, it came very early at the start, because I came in quickly to the Indian team. But as I came in, there was a big player called MS Dhoni who came in. Now, when you have somebody like MS Dhoni that you're competing with, you have to find a way to be in the Indian team. Either you can sulk and say, oh, he's there, so I'm not going to do much, so I'll just take a back seat, and then nobody will remember you. But if you want to do something special, you have to find your own path. There's always some light at the end of the tunnel, but you have to keep running after it. So I just realized that if I had to play, I had to become a better batsman. So, I worked on my batting. When I used to go back to playing domestic cricket, I did things that was required for me to get back in the Indian team. So that is how I kept myself relevant. I always cite this example. The moment you stagnate or you're not willing to adapt, you become obsolete. A great example is BlackBerry. They were doing very well. They were a premier mobile phone maker in the market. At that time, what they called BlackBerry Messenger, BBM Messenger, was big, massive. As you'll know, people bought that phone only for that. Around the 2007 mark, Steve Jobs obviously came up with the touchscreen. Till then, touchscreen wasn't available. But BlackBerry felt, who will use touchscreen? The whole point of BlackBerry is the feel of typing in the keyboard. He said that feel is what will keep my company going. But Apple came up with their product, the iPhone, and they brought something called the App Store where you could use, and they used this touch screen and you could type on the screen. And the BlackBerry guy was obviously a bit cocky and felt that nobody's going to go for it. But the fact is that today Apple is around, but BlackBerry is not around. He wasn't willing to change at that stage. So if you're not willing to change, you'll always struggle. Again, somebody who ran the same race along with BlackBerry is Nokia. We all know there's not many people in this at my age or probably even younger that has not had a Nokia phone in their life. But the fact is that they are not willing to change. When you're not willing to change, you will get left behind. So willing to change is extremely important to answer your question.
That's interesting again. So 2007 World Cup, I'm talking about the 50-over World Cup, was not really great for the Indian team. Caribbean, disappointing experience. And from there to turn around and join the T20 squad and lifting the trophy, right? What does this tell about mindset and ups and downs in sport and life in general?
In 2007, the first World Cup that happened was the 50-over World Cup. The first World Cup of that year, I mean. And it was a disaster. We lost to Sri Lanka in the first game. Then the next game, we had a superb game against Bermuda, but it doesn't count much. But we did well against Bermuda. The last game was critical against Bangladesh, and we lost that as well. So we were knocked out of the World Cup, just like Pakistan is knocked out of the Champions Trophy a couple of days ago. India was knocked out of that World Cup. Now, no, I didn't mean it as a joke. I really meant it. Pakistan got knocked out. Sadly, it's the truth. So there was a bit of a crisis. A lot of senior players, for example, Virender Sehwag, Gautam Gambhir, all were dropped soon after that World Cup. They were all part of that World Cup, and there was a call for change, and things changed a bit. And for the next 6 months, a lot of the players weren't part of that team. And then came this T20 World Cup. At that point, this was a bit of a novelty. It's a new thing. Nobody's heard of what is T20, what's going to happen. But ICC decided, no, we'll have a T20 World Cup because it gives the feeling like a lot of young people will start watching the sport because of T20. It was like cricket's answer to football in many ways, Cricket was played over one full day, but football was obviously 3 hours or 2.5 hours. So they thought, a lot to attract a lot of the young crowd. Let's get that in. And that World Cup was a massive success. Now, a lot of the young players, or rather at that point younger, Gambhir, Sehwag, they were young at that stage. They had the opportunity to come back. And they realized what was missing in them. So they went, they worked, they improved in areas where they should. There was Virender Sehwag, Zaheer Khan, Harbhajan Singh, all of these players were making a comeback into the team. So there's a lot of fire in the belly. Sometimes when you go through a bit of a dip is when you realize what you need to improve. They always say failure shouldn't be looked at as a roadblock. It should be looked at as feedback. So I think they got the feedback that they need to improve in certain areas. So they went, worked on their game, came back, and that team had a lot of fire, a lot of belief that we wanted to do something special under a young captain called MS Dhoni at that stage. And he was a very good leader, a leader of men. He knew how to get the best out of people. Not very vocal with what he thought, but he provided actions and he made a team believe that they could do special things. And so we went ahead and did. So the leader had vision. At the end of the day, his vision was not just to win the World Cup. His vision was to how do we build the next 50-over team for the World Cup. 2007 had the World Cup, but 2011 we won because that thought process started then. How do we win that next World Cup? Who are the kind of players that we need to take? What do we need to provide in terms of infrastructure to get the best out of these players? And he wasn't micromanaging them. A lot of leaders end up micromanaging every aspect. You need to be a bit like an elder brother sort of a relationship where they need to feel that you're around and you'll be there when it matters, but also allow them to make mistakes so that they learn from it. And that always happens as the whole journey unfolds itself. It might be very hard at times when you're hand-holding. It feels simpler, but the person won't learn. So to be able to have that distance where you're allowing them to grow, at the same time they have a feeling that in case things go wrong, my brother is there to back me up. So he made sure it was that kind of a relationship which really helped a lot of the senior players emerge into very special players.
Okay. So talking about 2007 T20 World Cup, some of the few images which come in my mind, one of them is your catch of RP Singh's bowling and the edge of Graham Smith. I'd like to show this video to our colleagues here. Could we just start with the top, please?
Comes out to the middle. Yes, and a magnificent catch! You beauty! Smith goes for 4, 12 for 2.
So Dinesh, the reaction time for this catch was of course extremely low, but I'm sure a lot of preparation goes behind performing in such situations at global levels, right? So mentally, how do you condition yourself? Or, I understand sometimes teams also have mental conditioning coaches. So how do they add value, and what sort of mental position do you need to be in to perform at this global event?
See, you take this catch in isolation is one catch that I've taken in the match. But to take a catch like this, you need to practice. So I've stood at, first of all, as you see, there's MS Dhoni who's keeping. And then I'm standing at gully, which is not a position that I'm used to. I'm usually a keeper. But I realized that I might be standing in slip cordon, so I practiced a lot at that stage. So it is very important whatever you'll do, and all of you all obviously being part of insurance, it's one of the toughest aspects of life is sales. You're selling a product to somebody. It's not easy. It's not like MS Dhoni sold the idea of making me stand at slip, but he definitely told me that you'll be standing at slip. The moment the idea comes, it's important as an individual that you visualize what is required for you to succeed in that position. That is very important. How do you carve a niche for yourself doing that? In that case, I needed repetition. I needed to catch a lot in that position. So we had a fielding coach, Robin Singh, if the video is there for a short bit. He was our fielding coach. And I made somebody throw, and Robin Singh is a left-hander as well, and he kept hitting me catches. And I practiced taking a lot of catches, very similar to sales. I mean, at the end of the day, if you want to reach a certain target, you have to be repetitive in nature, opening up doors for your clients and opening up doors to meet new clients. And that's how this industry works. At times, you might feel you hit a roadblock, but the fact is that until and unless you're persistent and you sell with the right intention, the person who wants to be involved with this product won't get the same feeling that you have. You have to be able to sell the vision. You're not selling a product, these days, selling products used to be very, early 2000s, late 90s, that used to be the idea, but you're selling a vision, you're selling a dream, you're selling somebody a product that you feel that will make a difference to their life. Not by selling it, your life becomes better. It's two different things. So when you're selling that, the genuinity needs to come out. The fact that you're there to make a difference to that person's life, whoever you're selling the product to, that is the most important. How can you make an impact in his life? In my journey then, in that slip catch, it was about taking catches so that when that catch came along, I was not only helping the team but also helping the bowler. And there were a lot of young bowlers. We see that ball, it was RP Singh. He was just new into the journey. If I had dropped that catch, and probably he could have got dropped the next game, God knows how his journey would have been. So small things. So when you're fielding, it's obviously a very selfless profession because you don't get nothing in your career. Nobody's ever made a career out of being a good fielder. You have to either bat well or bowl well. Fielding is what you do for the team. So it's a very selfless part of the whole process. But to make that effort to be a good fielder so that you help the bowler, you help the team, is part of the journey of being a cricketer. So in that, you have to understand the psychology side of things come through, because at times you're so focused on trying to be a good batsman or a good wicket keeper or a good bowler for that matter, that fielding always takes a backward step. It's okay if you don't feel who's knowing whether you're a good fielder or not, but everybody in the team will know what your value is, how much you care for the other person, because somebody is running up from that distance and bowling, and he's bowled a good ball and he's somehow induced the edge as well. Your only job is to take the ball. If you don't catch the ball, then you're letting the player down and in turn the team down. So it's a team effort at the end of the day, and we work best when we work as a team. But to have the mindset to work alone and take 100 catches when nobody is seeing, that is the challenge. So that when that catch comes, which is as tough, you know how to take it. It can't be a fluke. And even if it is a fluke, it will happen once. But to do it consistently, you need to work at it.
So did you think T20 would be this big? Of course, back in the day playing the World Cup, did you think that one day T20 is going to be this massive?
Yeah, at the end of the World Cup, almost all of India was there. The who's who of India was there. The Ambani, Shah Rukh Khan. We do see the T20 World Cup final. You can see in the balcony a huge rung of high-profile celebrities were there. And that was the kickstart of the journey in T20 cricket. And there was no World Cup up until then, which was so well supported. So you knew there was something special about this format. People are willing to spend 3 hours to have fun and watch a game. To watch a whole day at that stage was a little hard. So it's even harder today. That is different. But I'm just saying at that stage, it was very hard. I mean, it was very easy to follow a T20 game. And I felt that this was a format that could catch up.
So right after the 2007 World Cup was obviously 2008, where we saw the launch of IPL, and 16 glorious years of IPL, 16 years of you playing so well consistently in that tournament, and of course you retired from it last year. But You've also played for 6 different franchises, which is as good as working for 6 different organizations. So how did you adapt to those diverse environments? And at the same time, how did you ensure that you spend time building a relationship with your team members?
That's the beauty of IPL. I ended up playing for a few teams, like you said, 6. So a very different set of people almost every time in every different team that you play. Being a cricketer today is a lot like being clay. You need to be able to mold and adapt to whose hand you are in, rather. That's the better way to say it. So at that stage, before the IPL, obviously you only played for the country or played for the domestic team. Only 2 things. But today there's a new tournament called the IPL, which is a very corporate-led tournament. Now when corporates get in, they are willing to help you with everything. But what they want to see is results. So understanding their point of view, they are obviously judged on results. So they want the results to be the best. They will provide you the infrastructure. They will give you all the backing. They will give you the knowledge. They will give you, in cricketers' term, they'll give you practice facilities, everything required for you to excel. But your job is to put in the effort. All they want to see is you putting in the effort to make sure that being associated with them means you're giving them your 100%. And in different teams, they work differently, but their goal is the same. They all want you to do your best. And in turn, if the team does well, they're very, very happy. So understanding what the vision of the team is very important. And you aligning yourself with that vision is key. In any aspect of life, be it cricket, be it tennis, be it insurance, be it any automobile industry, it's all about knowing what your bigger vision is and how you can contribute to that vision in your own way. Understanding that will make life very easy for you.
Thank you. So you were the captain of KKR for almost 3 seasons. Can you tell us about your leadership experience there?
It was fun. Look, KKR was, when the team was picked at that stage, we were the youngest team in the tournament. So we had a lot of young boys. Like today, who were you see? Shubman Gill. We were just discussing Shubman Gill. Yeah. There was Shivam Mavi. There's many, Prasidh Krishna. So these were playing for the first time. So the experience wasn't there. But what you did have was a lot of energy. What you did have was a lot of belief in wanting to do something special. So we did our best. We came to 2 semi-finals, but we weren't good enough to go beyond it. But the fact is that in the journey, I realized what it means to be there for young boys and help them grow as cricketers and people. And at the end of the day, a lot of the times what I realized is if you help them actually grow as people, eventually the cricket takes care of itself. You be as a leader, being there for that person in their tough moments. Post IPL, there's 10 months. So in that 10 months when they require something, when they're trying to reach you or reach out to you for some help or the other, to be there for them means a lot, because that effort that you put in during their tough moments translates into loyalty and rewards when they're working or when they are being with you at that stage. So these are my learnings being a leader for a long time.
Thank you. So I'm sure wherever you go, this is one of the most talked about innings of yours. It is the 2018 Indahas Trophy final. Before I ask you some questions on that, I think I just have a clip which I would like to show to our colleagues again.
The big call, a big decision for Bangladesh, and they've made it already as we see Dinesh Karthik come in. The choice between Shumo Sharkar bowling this over and Rubel Hussain the last, but they've done the right thing, I guess. Well, what a start from Dinesh Karthik! I think people will be wondering what is he doing, languishing down the order.
Well, he's standing outside the crease, so he's converted to a great connection.
He bowls quick. Dinesh Karthik loves the pace. Gone see him up again. They might look for 2 runs here, but that's going to be 4.
Yes, Rubel angles the ball in, and he's using that angle to hit it wide off that fielder.
Rubel Hussain, 10 runs so far of 2 balls. And he's gone again! And that seems to be another boundary. Is it a 4 or a 6? It's a 6!
If the first one, he was outside the crease and converted the Yorker into a full toss, this one, again, he's converted the Yorker by going deep into a half volley. 18 from 9 now.
It seems very gettable now. 18 from 9. What does Rubel Hussain do? Does he take the pace off? Yeah, he does, and he misses.
He's taking a chance.
Should get a couple here. Yeah, Vijay Shankar will come back for 2 more runs. 16 now needed, 1 ball to go in this over.
So 18 already in this over. They need 16 from 7. What India would want to see is Dinesh Karthik on strike in the last over.
Quickly bowler to bowl that final over of the innings. Grab shot. Oh, no, it's the little swivel on the leg side. That's another boundary. That's a massive over. Rubel Hussain, the star so far with the ball, has conceded 22 in this over.
We were talking before that Rubel, because he bowled his first 3 overs for 13 runs, that he might give maybe about 10 runs. But he gave 22, no less, 22. And look at that shot, look at that cheeky shot.
Was there a little bit of bias there?
Oh, a little bit, just a little bit. Yes, there was a misfield and 10 needed, 4 deliveries.
But this is the real test now. Dinesh Karthik is on strike. Hasn't been dismissed in this tournament. He's got 22 of 6. This is the test. This is more India's game than Bangladesh's. What are the umpires doing?
Well, that's it. The umpire should have stepped in. The square leg umpire should have stepped in straight away.
India's game to win now. 5 needed from 2 balls. Well, he's gone straight. The ball's got height. Hasn't got the length. 2 fielders getting under it. Oh, bit of a juggle, but the second one was allowed and he's taken the catch. Dinesh Karthik taking strikes. So that's the only good thing that happened from that last mishap, is that Dinesh Karthik is back on strike.
All 5 good Yorkers. Well, 4. 1 was taken for a boundary.
Nice ball. 5 needed. Well, he's gone for it. That's going to be a super over. Or has it gone all the way? It has! This is unbelievable from Dinesh Karthik. That's a 6. One of the flattest 6s you'll ever see in your life. And he got to field for Bangladesh. But what has Dinesh Karthik achieved? He's my man of the match for tonight.
Without a question, without a question. Previous deliveries.
What an innings! What?
So you have a very casual smile on your face right now, but I just want to ask you, how the hell did you pull that off?
See, as I keep saying, again, I practiced, at that stage I was trying to become what we call a finisher now. So I was practicing very differently. I used to, normally when cricketers, what they do, they go to net sessions and they'll bat 15 minutes, 20 minutes. That's how they batted. But I realized that if I want to do something different at that stage, which was a finisher role, I'm not going to get 10 balls. I'm not going to get 25, 30 balls in a T20. So I'm going to get 6 balls, 10 balls, 12 balls. How do I maximize it? And it's very hard as a batter to go in and start hitting 6s and 4s straight away, because you don't know how the pitch is, what the bowler is bowling. A lot of the times the body feels very differently. So you have to practice that. So I had practiced in the lead up to that a lot of times where I would go bat 6 balls in the nets, come out. Go bat 6 balls in the nets, come out. So I did that like 10, 15 times every net session. So eventually I got a hang of what it means. How do I need to get ready to hit a boundary in the first 2-3 balls of my innings? And this game came about a couple of months later. When I was practicing that, people thought, what is this guy doing? He's just going batting and coming back. He's wasting his time. Nobody practices like that. So you have to sometimes think out of the box, is my point here. If you're doing the same thing over and over again, the results will be similar to what you've achieved. But if you want to create an impression, you have to be willing to change up things which might feel uncomfortable and might feel weird for other people to see, but you know the process that you're doing. So I backed my process, I believed in what I needed to do, and eventually I got lucky on that day.
So when I was watching this game, I could see that obviously, Vijay Shankar, who was on the other side, he wasn't really able to connect the ball. So there was obviously more pressure on you. But you kept walking up to him and telling him something. Deep down, you knew that you have to take the responsibility. But how do you encourage or motivate a team member who's down and out, and just to make sure that he doesn't do something silly?
That's the beauty of team sport, isn't it? And we are all sitting here, and I'm sure all of you all feel a team being part in this room. Not every day will always have, not every player or every person in this room will always have good days every day. There will be certain days which works for some people, and other days it works for another set of people. But the point here is 2 things. Knowing that everybody can go through a bad day will always make sure that you're always kind to people around you. But also understanding the team that you're working with and understanding the personalities you're working with and what will help them do better on a certain day is something that you learn as you spend a lot of time with that person. So obviously Vijay Shankar is from Chennai and I've practiced and played a lot with him. So I kind of knew what he was going through. It was one of his tougher days. Everything he tried didn't work out that day. It was exactly opposite to what my day was, where anything I did worked. So on a day like that, it is my duty to look out for him and make him feel like he can still do something special. He can hit a target that is required for that day by doing certain things. So just being there for him, obviously helping him technically will also help, but most importantly, making him understand that it's okay in case it doesn't go well for you. There'll be another day when you can turn it around. So having that courage to speak to him and also having the empathy to understand what he's going through on that day is very, very important. And I'm sure it's in this team, and I really hope and wish that you'll understand each other to get the best out of each other in a lot of days.
Thank you. So now you are one of the most insightful voices in cricket commentary, and you've adapted so well, so quickly. And in fact, we've seen that about you throughout your career. You've evolved into different roles. You just spoke about being a finisher. Coming on to sports broadcasting and commentary, how has your perspective of the game changed?
So when you play cricket, you're always thinking about yourself. What can I do? How do I score runs? How do I get into the? How do I get to do this, etc., etc. But when you become a sports broadcaster, it's not at all about you. Whatever you say is an opinion, but people on the outside are listening to you. Now, how can you make it interesting for them? And you're talking about a very assorted audience. There's also the 10-year-old who's playing, like me, or rather watching, like me when I was growing up, to the 75-year-old who's been around for so many years and has heard Bill Lawry, Tony Greig, and the greatest of commentators. He'll also know what commentary is. He has had so much experience listening to so many great commentators. So how will you connect with everybody? So understanding the sport, giving your point of view, but also realizing that you're talking to a very varied audience. Today, the sport is trying to connect with young people. And young people was before. Right now, it's more how do we connect with women? There are so many homemakers in the house that are watching because the kids are watching. How do you get them interested as well? So once you understand what your goal is, what your target audience is, then you are able to understand what needs to be done to make it interesting for the person listening. There are a lot of people watching it on mobile phones. And there are a lot of people watching it in the living rooms of their houses. So at the time you're talking about the game, but it has to reach and connect with a lot of different people who are watching at different points of time, at different places and different mindsets of their life. So to be able to be very authentic, be very effusive in praise and be very honest in criticism is very important. And at the same time, try and make it very interesting and fun. You want it to be a bit light, not too overbearing. And there's a fine line between trying to sound very preachy to trying to sound like you understand the game and you're explaining it to them. There's a fine line. Just understanding that line is important.
Dinesh, one last question before the rapid fire is if I had to take your unbiased opinion about who do you think will win the ICC Champions Trophy this year, who would it be? Unbiased opinion.
I really feel India is the best team.
Right, thank you. Okay, so I have a few questions for the rapid fire now. So this is going to be quick. You can answer in a few words or you can also explain depending on how comfortable you are. I'll start with something simple. Your favorite holiday destination?
London.
Right. Your go-to cheat meal after a big game?
Mutton biryani.
The best IPL franchise you played for on dressing room vibes only?
RCB.
RCB.
I see there are a lot of RCB fans in the house. Any Mumbai fans? Chennai? Sunrisers? Oh,
There's one guy shouting for all.
Very good. Kolkata? Wow, this is an MI house I see. Nice, very good.
A bowler you did not like facing?
Malinga. Oh my God.
Your favorite co-commentator? I'm guessing it's Nasser Hussain, but...
I have a lot of banter with Nasser Hussain. I enjoy him.
So Nasser Hussain is the answer. Yeah. All right. Last question. If you could live one day as another person, could it be a sports person or cricketer, whoever, who would it be?
Roger Federer. I feel he lives a very interesting life.
All right, that ends our session. I think I'd just like to request you to sign a bat for me. And then after that, we'll open the floor to our colleagues out here.
Sure.
Right, so we can open the floor for a few questions. Anybody?
Only a white-haired man can ask this question. Somebody who has been so intense and did everything so mentally, with so much practice, thinking ahead. What does retirement mean to you? What
Wow,
is the
nice
thought
question.
there?
I think retirement at this point of time means I can spend more time with my kids. That's one of the main reasons why I have actually reduced on playing the sport. But if you ask my wife, she'll say I still end up traveling a lot more. All wives complain about that. But retirement also means just doing things that I like doing right now. I like to stay at home quite a bit when I find the time now. I like these days. One of my younger sons is really likes gardening, so just being there and helping him, just basic things. There's the small things that I couldn't do when I was playing cricket because there your schedule is dictated by whatever matches are around. Today, because I've retired, I can pick and choose. Like recently, we were just discussing with Avinash's nephew. I went and played SA20. That is a tournament in South Africa. But I chose to go. It wasn't like, it was forced upon me. I chose to go. But when you're playing for India, you have to play domestic cricket. You have to practice before IPL. You have to do certain things. And I thought I have done enough of it. So I just took a break from that.
I continue playing.
Sorry?
I continue playing. Join Insurance Market.
Next question from Farah.
Hello, DK. I think you're more popularly known as DK, right? I don't think anybody in the Indian team has that 2-digit or this short form, right? How do you enjoy that? My question is still coming.
Oh, that's not a question. Oh, it's very good. DK is nice.
I always admired you as a wicketkeeper. You had probably the best law word. I follow cricket very closely. My question is, you made your debut in 2004 and then MS came out in 2005. Did you ever feel that sharing the era with MS limited your opportunities at international level? How do you handle that?
I was very aware that I will have to not share. He will take a lion's share and I have to, deal with whatever is left. But I also have this choice of trying to create a journey for myself, which is very interesting as a batter. So that I was very aware of. As soon as somebody like MS came, he was, the world of cricket was very encapsulated by his credentials, the way he was batting. He was a very different, novel person. He had long hair, the way he batted, he could hit sixes with a lot of power, which wasn't existent at that time. Early 2004, nobody would play that. Yuvraj was the only exception who could do something like that. Nobody else could do it like that. So I knew that all of India really were mesmerized by what he was doing. So I couldn't, compete with him on that front, but I could definitely carve my own path using my own methods.
This is about your stint with Sky Sports in 2023 during the Ashes series. Your comments were very insightful, very exciting, very interesting for all of us. And it was an honor usually we don't get subcontinent commentators for Ashes series. So you were a special guest there and you had a lot of insightful discussion with Nasser Hussain, Michael Atherton, with a lot of friendly banter also. How was that experience?
Phenomenal. One of my highlights of being a commentator, because there's no Indian who's ever done an Ashes test. So to be able to go there and be part of an Ashes test was extremely exciting because, there was Ricky Ponting, Mark Taylor. These are people I've watched and some I've played with. Mark Taylor, not Mark Taylor, but Ricky Ponting I've played with. Just to share the comm box with them and listen to them and hear them speak, it was a lot of fun.
Hi Dinesh, this is Yash. Big fan, of course. So I think, you play a sport which is simultaneously seen by around 1.4 billion people in most matches, right? Now, typically we as team players, we obviously have a lot of pressure on our shoulders to kind of deliver. But to deliver it when so many people are watching, how do you really maintain your calm and composure and your focus when you have so many people watching you and expecting that from you?
So when you're doing something for the first time, it feels like a lot of people are watching you. And I feel that not so much while playing cricket. Now that I'm broadcasting, what happens is, initially when I used to be in front of the camera, I used to feel a little camera shy. But now, eventually, I realized that if I have to become good at it, I have to be able to forget whoever is around it. There's always a group of people watching. I am speaking not to the people listening to me here. I'm talking to the whole world through that camera. So it's important that I'm addressing them. And those are the people who are watching me. So I need to be very authentic and very truthful in what I'm saying. So at some point, as you keep practicing, you will realize how to cut out the noise and cut out everything else apart from who you're dealing with. And that is a skill that you only learn by practice, and by repetition, it eventually comes to you.
I have a question, sorry. What is that one value do you think has helped you throughout your career for the successes you have had and for all the experiences that you have had till date? What is that one value that you would say that we should all adapt to?
Hunger. I think determination is very important, because the whole, whoever has won big things in life, you speak to them and they'll tell you that moment is nice when they win it. But actually, when they wake up the next day, it is the whole process, the work that they put in is what was the most fun aspect of it. And it is not just that winning feeling. So you do everything to win, without doubt, but also realizing that you're grateful for the journey and the process and the work that you put in, and that vindicates what you've done. So the hunger to keep going will always make sure that you're achieving bigger and better things eventually.
Just a follow-up question on that hunger. How do you stay hungry? I mean, once you have got to that level of success, complacency can set in. So what's the how of that? How do you motivate yourself to keep that hunger?
Obviously, it is very intrinsic, isn't it? So when you say hunger, what happens is you will only feel complacent if you are comparing yourself with somebody else and you feel you have gotten better than him. But if your journey is to become, your vision of what you want to become is in a completely different tangent to what anybody else is thinking, then that vision will help you take you there. And if you've gotten there and you feel you've achieved everything that you can, eventually you'll realize that that process, there are things that you have done better, you'd have even achieved a lot more, and that will keep you going. And that is the best way. It's important. It's a lot like, it's very different to driving a car on a highway. When you're driving a car on a highway, constantly overtaking people. But if you're flying, there's nobody overtaking. You're in your own journey. You just keep going, knowing what's your destination. So that's a very different process. You need to figure out whether you want to be on the road or fly. So it's up to you.
So, since we're discussing all of this, how do you deal with competition or one specific position you want to be in? In your time, you were competing with MS Dhoni. So, how do you deal with that?
Competition is something that is always going to be there. In fact, having competition is what will always challenge you. And it's important to have challenges, because challenges is always what helps you grow as a person in whatever field you are. But the key aspect is being aware of it, not being burdened by it. A lot of people, what happens, they get too involved in the competition aspect. That will burden you. To know there is competition, I'm sure there is insurance market and there are many competitors. But to be aware of them is fine. It's good. It's healthy. But what is important is, what is your vision? What is your mission? What do you want to achieve? And you should always be followed, not be a follower. So when you get into that mindset, eventually you will understand that you will leave behind so many people. When you turn and look, that's when you'll realize, wow, I've gone ahead of so many people. But that will happen. So the key is thinking that my competition is myself a lot of the times, and also knowing it is okay to have competition on the outside. That's okay. It's okay. It's important to be aware. You can't not have competition. If you're the only person running a race, it's not fun. If your people are running along with you, it always helps you do things in a much better way.
Hi Dinesh sir, my name is Ruslan, I'm from Pakistan. Big fan of yours. We love Indian cricketers across the border as well. We have not performed in the Champions Trophy, unfortunately. But I just wanted to know that, being a cricketer, how it feels like India-Pakistan game. I mean, when the match comes, people are like, who, and media. Being a player in the team, is it different from playing against any other team? How do you feel?
It used to be that way. But now recently what's happened is India, the skill levels of India are slightly more higher. So you feel slightly more confident than what it was before. Before India, actually at the start, Pakistan was much better. India was slightly lower. But with the infrastructure developing, India almost got equal. And that time it used to be very interesting as well. There's no doubting that. But today actually India has gone to a different level altogether. You can see, if you can see with the way they are playing, they're a lot more confident. They don't actually look at Pakistan as competition anymore. So it's not as bad as what it was in 2021 when they actually lost for the first time in Dubai in a World Cup. That was a big moment for Pakistan actually. And from there they should have actually gone a few notches ahead, but they've again fallen back. And India has now beaten them so consistently in every tournament, almost everywhere they've played. They have a little bit of a chip on their shoulder at times. They come in with more confidence. And that comes through with the way they play. They believe they can win, even if they make a few mistakes. Whereas Pakistan is the opposite. They know that if they falter somewhere, they'll lose the game. So the way they play is very different. So I feel India right now is having the upper hand in a big way.
Okay, guys, we have time for one last question.
Hi Dinesh, Rajesh here. This is regarding the commentary. Like for you, when you are commenting for Indian matches, obviously we all want India to win. So certain times when Virat Kohli gets out or probably we lose, how you make yourself so composed and continue with the commentary without showing any emotions?
See, when I'm a commentator, I try my best not to support any team. I am trying to give a very unbiased, neutral view. That is very important because I'm only not catering to India. People are listening in South Africa, Australia, and you want to be as neutral so the people watching know that they're listening to a commentator who's speaking about the game, not a fan who is talking about the game. They're two different things. So it's important not to get into that fan zone. That happens when you later, after the game finishes. But during the game, it's important to be very professional and stick to what is required for that job, which is to be as pragmatic and straightforward as possible.
And one more regarding the retirement. Now, I was seeing one of the videos of Gilchrist on one of the Australian channels where he was saying the decision of taking a retirement is specifically because on one of the catches that he dropped, and he said, this is the time. So, is it only the family time or like something that you thought inside? Like
that as well. It's a good point. In my case, it wasn't catch. It was more like I wasn't enjoying practicing before a tournament as much as I used to. That pretty much tells you that if you're not able to practice to the standards that you've set for yourself, then the results won't be the same. And I didn't want my results to drop. So I wanted to make sure that I leave it on a high. So I was very clear about that.
Fantastic. Guys, a huge round of applause for Dinesh. Thank you so much, Dinesh. Right, we have a special guest who would like to meet Dinesh. We have a very special guest. He's our mentor, none other than Alfred. Can we have Alfred on the stage? Yay! Alfred is here. Right. So we'll have the first photograph with Alfred, of course, with our captain, Mr. Avinash Babu. Please join us for the photograph with Dinesh, Alfred, and Mr. Babu.
Right, perfect. Thank you. And now, just give us 2 minutes.
InsuranceMarket.ae